Yuval, welcome back to the channel. My name is David. Today, we're going to be talking about the Nikon Z 40mm f2 SE. The SE stands for Special Edition because this lens is modeled after some of Nikon's old film lenses, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, I initially wrote off this lens because it's all plastic down to the lens mount. However, after using it for some time with the Nikon ZF, I have really come to enjoy using this lens. As per usual, I'm going to be covering things like build quality, autofocus, and image quality. Now, another quick disclaimer, Nikon did not provide any of the equipment shown in this video. I purchased everything with my hard-earned money, and my poor wallet is still in therapy. I really don't think my wallet's getting out of therapy anytime soon. So, with that said, let's just jump into the review. The SE model of the Nikon Z 40mm f2 features a retro design with knurling on the lens body, a contrasting silver band, and a vintage Nikon logo and typeface that looks like Nikon's classic film lenses. However, like I mentioned in the intro, the entirety of the lens is plastic, but it does feel good in the hand. The lens is built around a plastic lens mount and it is not weather sealed, so don't even think about shooting in the rain with this one. The lens doesn't have a autofocus manual focus switch like some of Nikon's more expensive lenses. At the front of the lens sits the manual focus ring, which also doubles as the control ring for the lens, which means you can reprogram this ring to control things like your aperture or exposure compensation. The ring turns smoothly and is easy to grasp thanks to the large rubber ring. The lens doesn't come with a lens hood and the filter size is 52mm. Aside from the retro-inspired design, there really isn't much more to say about this lens. It's pretty straightforward. The lens features Nikon's stepping motor technology, which puts it on par with their other lens offerings. It delivers smooth, quiet, and fast autofocus performance that is suitable for both photo and video applications. This is very surprising because usually full plastic lenses use cheaper and noisier motors like Canon's RF 35mm 1.8 or their RF 50mm 1.8. Currently, I love using this lens for street photography with Nikon's 3D tracking, and I have no issue nailing focus on moving subjects. Full-time manual focus override is possible in this lens, and it features an internal focusing design. Overall, this little lens does a stellar job for photo and video work, and I would have no problem using it for professional applications. I have to say, this 40mm f2 isn't Nikon's sharpest lens, and that's a good thing. While their S-line lenses provide a very clinical look, this 40mm f2 provides character. And what I mean by that is that the lens has things like chromatic aberrations, soft corners wide open, contrast haziness, and so on, and it's very refreshing. It's kind of interesting how about a decade ago, in the early days of mirrorless and tail end of the DSLR era, many people, myself included, wanted sharper lenses. I guess clinical is the best way to describe it. And now that we have these clinical lenses, people want lenses with character or flaws, and it's gotten to the point that people love to add Cinebloom filters to soften their images and give them a quote-unquote filmic look. It's almost like the community has finally embraced the flaws of these older lenses. Anyways, tangent aside, this lens does feature two aspherical elements that do help combat some of that spherical aberration and distortion. It also has a super integrated coating which helps suppress flare and ghosting when working in tough lighting conditions. The rounded 9-blade diaphragm produces a pleasing looking bokeh. Overall, this lens is super fun to shoot with, and I love that it has some minor flaws. Alrighty, so here are my thoughts on the lens. First off, I think Nikon played it smart with making this lens, not only from the design language of it looking like a film lens, but also the fact that it has character. And I've mentioned this in a number of my reviews. A lot of the lenses I review all have that same clinical look. We're at the point now where like lenses are at the sharpest they're gonna get. So kind of going backwards and producing a lens that has some flaws is actually kind of refreshing. And I think going back to what I was saying about Nikon being smart, they're trying to tap into that niche market of people that want to, say, buy film lenses and adapt them to their cameras or buy Cinebloom filters to soften that digital look. So for 300 bucks, I think this is pretty freaking cool. That and, to sell it with the Nikon ZF, which is their retro style camera, I think is a fantastic combo for a nostalgia aesthetic, you know, because everything's aesthetics nowadays. I also like that Nikon included the autofocusing motors that are in their higher, more expensive lenses in this little $300 camera lens, because it's surprising. You know, you think of a plastic lens, you think of the old Nifty 50 from like 10 years ago that would make that really annoying whirling noise when it would acquire focus. It sounded like it was gonna break. So to have a lens that is all plastic and silent and quick to focus is astounding. So I think Nikon really knocked it out of the park in that aspect. I really don't have any gripes about this lens other than the price might be a little steep for people that are looking for a good like everyday lens. But, you know, if $300 is a little too steep for you, you could always find it used online, and I've seen it go for about $240 to $250, so that might be a little easier to stomach. But overall, I highly recommend this lens as a good, like, everyday carry kind of lens, you know, for photo and video applications, where you just want to toss your camera in your bag and just go out and take pictures and have fun. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, double tap the dislike button twice. Trust me, it works. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and follow me on Instagram at DeloVisuals to stay up to date with my latest adventures. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.